What's going on, guys? You got the Crazy Dog back for another video. Last week I had a pretty good, trash talk session. Back and forth, little action with Desert Eagle. Shout out to him and the Bird Gang, Philly Knights. Good luck against Chicago. But this week, we got the Rat Birds. And Ravens Red Zone. Ooh. Wow. So, anyways, I'm going to talk about the team first. I'll get to the somewhat fans, later. The one video maker that actually is in the TTC, as far as I know. So, anyways, talking about their team, they got a pretty decent defense. Their defensive front seven is pretty good. Elvis Dumervil, Arthur Brown, he's on the come up. Of course, they're not as good as they used to be, especially since without Haloti Ngata. They've been losing some good players. They got Terrell Suggs. He's still chugging along. Granted, he's more of a T. Simmer now. But they're still good. You can't underestimate them. Because they come out here and they kick your butt. Yeah, they did beat the Bills. But the Bills, granted, are somewhat depleted. They're not as good as everyone thought they would be. A lot of their players are either suspended or hurt. There's a lot of players suspended for 4 games this year. It's weird. But whatever. But the biggest challenge for them, Ratbirds, is going to be, can they keep up with Terrell Pryor and Corey Coleman? Because those two have speed and they got range. They can get open easily, especially Pryor, because he's got that size. He's got that gift that God gave him. Those hands and that speed. That dude can get open like crazy. The dude, Terrell Pryor, he didn't burn, but he got past Desmond Trufant of the Falcons in the preseason. Granted, it was preseason, but that's still Desmond Trufant. And he's still trying to get that pick off of you. So, you don't want to go at anyone any easier than if it was preseason or regular season. You go at them all the same. And Terrell Pryor caught a beautiful pass in that game against the Falcons. Granted, we see how good the Falcons are against the Bucs. Take that L. But against the Ravens, they got Jimmy Smith. He's pretty much the most notable guy they got. They got a few other good guys. They got Lawrence Guy on that defense. I think he's like a linebacker. They got Eric Weddle at safety. They're pretty good at some positions. They're solid on defense. It's going to be enough for them to contend in games. I know they lost a lot of games last year by like 7 or less points. It was crazy. They lost to the Raiders. They lost to us. They lost to a lot of teams that they should have beat. They could have beat, but they didn't. Granted, we did split with them last year. And speaking of splitting, talking about the split, Ravens fans will always come at me and bring up the kick 6. But then I respond with McCown going for 400 yards plus against them in that first meeting. And I already know he could do it again. He's a good passer. He's a good quarterback. Doesn't have the mobility that RG3 does, but he still has that arm. He can really heave it downfield. Just wait until he gets Josh Gordon. Oh, wow. Huh. God. And then you got Gary Barnidge. McCown loves Gary Barnidge. That defense for the Ravens, they're going to be challenged. They ain't just going to be able to just breeze on through this game. They're going to be challenged every play. Because you got Hugh Jackson, who knows everything about the Ravens. Granted, he was on the Ravens coaching staff at one point before he went to the Bengals. And then he learned even more on the Bengals, again, about the Ravens. He's coached against them, against that defense, several times. He schemed against that defense, so he knows about them. So it's going to be fun to see what he can draw up against that Ravens defense. And now talking about the Ravens offense, it's not as good as it used to be, When they had Torrey Smith, Derek Mason, Mark Clayton, they were good. Todd Heap, they were really, really good. Ben Watson's out for the year. The offensive line's shaky, they lost a key piece in Kelechi Osemele to the Raiders. Eugene Monroe's gone, and in his place they bring in Ronnie Stanley, but they still got Marshall Yanda. You know, and that dude's a beast. I think the Browns defense will have a good challenge against this Ravens offensive line, but I think Ray Horton will have something for him. Not to mention, their quarterback, Joe Flacco, is coming off an injury, as is Steve Smith and Justin Forsett. And then they brought in Mike Wallace. They got Kamar Aiken. You know, they got a few other guys. You know, a few quality role players on that squad. They're not, you know, this game won't be a blowout. I'm not saying it will be. It'll be a good game, just like last year. But again, I'm going to say my dogs get that win at home. Get Hugh Jackson his first win. And against a divisional opponent. Wow. It would have been nice to get a win last week, but I mean, Carson Wentz he's the real deal, you know. People saying, "Oh, it's just the Browns." Well, yeah, our defense is not good. So if the Ravens get beat by this defense, which granted looked very improved last week compared to last year. Oh, wow. It's going to be fun. So against the Ravens offense is, of course, this trash so-called defense. This so-called trash defense. We got some quality pieces. Carl Nassib, Emmanuel Ogbah. They are going to be going hardcore after that offensive line. You know Ray Horton's going to be dialing up blitzes all over the place. Almost like Carlos Dansby. I wish. Demario Davis, Christian Kirksey. You know, those guys are going to be going after Joe Flacco. You got Danny Shelton, who's looking better. He's leaner and meaner this year. He showed a lot of improvement last week. Can it carry over to this week, though? Our secondary is going to be challenged, but I think Joe Hayden will be able to keep up with Steve Smith. But can Tramon Williams keep up with a Mike Wallace or Kamar Aiken? Because he hasn't had a good time here in Cleveland since he came from Green Bay. So we got to wait and see what this team can do. And now, the moment you guys have been waiting for, the fans. You know, this really, I don't know if I posted this video with just what I said before. People say, well, where's the hate? Oh, it's coming. Man, I hate Raven fans, but Ravens Red Zone, man, you know, there's nothing I can say that has already been said by pretty much everyone else in the AFC North. I'm pretty sure Dashy has roasted these guys on a couple of occasions. I mean, come on. They're so easy to get. They're easily roasted. Like, they're so roastable. Bob, it looks like he has a lifetime reservation to a all-you-can-eat buffet. And I bet you Kevin has enough freaking tar in his lungs to pave a road. And he's always wearing glasses inside. What's up with that, fool? Yes, those videos that you're inside, you were wearing those glasses, fool. Come on now. Ravens Red Zone here. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot who your name was. Come on now, man. Come on, man. You guys don't even know who I am, fool. I'm glad you don't know who I am. Because when you have to crow to me, you're going to learn who I am very fast. Hopefully I can get this victory lap. Hopefully. Not being too confident because of what happened last week. But I'm very hopeful the Browns can get the dub this week. And then, you know, the Ratbirds are going to have to crow to me. Which it shouldn't be very hard to crow because their mascot technically is a crow. It's kind of funny. I call them the Crows. The Baltimore Crows. And they're going to be doing a lot of that. That's for sure. In my eyes, anyway. But really, these two fools said they were going to go 14-2 and 11-5. What universe would they go 14-2 and 11-5? Granted, Kevin did say we were going to go 6-10 ahead of the Bengals. and I respect that. But the Ravens, are not going 14-2. I mean, you've gotta be crazy to believe that. Oh my God. Not with that team. No. Maybe in 2000? Yeah, but not. No. Pittsburgh is great. They're really good. I mean, heck, they freaking did work on Washington. Fool. Cincinnati, they're iffy. You know, we don't know much about them right now. They got A.J. Green still, so they're still dangerous. Not to mention Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard. Still boasting it up down there. So I don't really see them going 14-2. I see the Ravens going maybe around 9-7. If that, 7-9 at worst. No, maybe even worse than that. I don't know. But if you guys lose to the Browns this week, oh God, I would hate to be you guys. That's for sure. So that's it for my hate week. Hope you all enjoyed. You know, can't wait for next week. We got the Dolphins, the Fish. These guys head on down to South Beach, take on the Fish. It's going to be a good game. But for right now, that'll do it. Go Browns. And I'm out.